Remember when everyone would ask you when you were little, what do you want to be when you grow up? And now we're grown up and don't know what we're doing with our lives? Hi, my name is Madeline, and I am a college and career life coach. I help high school students, college students, and other young adults navigate the confusion that is life after graduation. Whether it's choosing your first career path or changing to a new career path, I am here to help you figure out what it is that you are doing with your life. So, welcome, get comfortable, and let's hang out together. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. I am very excited to have you here. I say that every week. I need to come up with something new to say. But today we are going to continue to answer questions from the FAQ series. And today's question is, why doesn't college prepare you for the real world? That's honestly a good question. And, it's debatable. I feel like some people would say that it does prepare you for the real world because that's the first opportunity for students to gain independence and see what it's like to live on their own and be responsible for themselves. But on the other hand, I can see how somebody would say it really doesn't prepare you for the real world because you don't necessarily learn a whole lot of practical life experiences like budgeting, paying your taxes, how to make doctor's appointments, buy a car, buy a house, like just, the normal day to day functions of adult life. When I got into the real world, I had to teach myself so many things. Like, I had never bought a house before, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to pay my taxes, I didn't know how to pay my bills, how to balance my money and my budgeting and my finances, or how to take care of my car and do regular maintenance on it. Or even, well, I did know how to buy a car because I had experience with my dad growing up because he used to flip cars. But I mean, there was just so many things that I didn't actually learn until I got there. But sometimes that's the best way to learn is just having to experience it for yourself and figure it out for yourself. So it's safe to say that I did not learn any of that in high school or college. But I'm very grateful to have parents and other adult figures in my life that helped me learn how to do those things. But for those who don't have people like that in their lives, it's such a disservice to the students who are graduating and really need that knowledge and don't have easy access to it. Because, yes, there's Google, but not everybody can find what they need with a quick Google search. And the internet is accessible by everybody, so there can be false information out there. It's just much more helpful to have a personal relationship with someone who can walk you through those experiences and make sure that you are good, which is, why I do what I do now. When you're facing those situations alone, it can be scary because you don't know what to expect or where to start. I was nervous about buying a house and filing my taxes. I don't want the IRS to come after me and for me to go to jail, obviously. But now on the other side of it, I can see that I literally had nothing to be worried about. But that's hard to understand and explain to somebody when you just literally haven't experienced those things before. It can be really scary being an adult when you don't know how to be one and you've never been taught what to do before. It's like, I mean, what's that saying, getting thrown to the wolves? Like, you really do feel helpless and just lost, I think is a word that I would use to describe it. And then on top of that, adulthood, like, really do be kicking my butt sometimes, like, back to back. It's always something. So, like, nothing really prepares you for that, I guess. And I feel like a response a lot from people, and I'm just speaking in general, but people always say, like, grow up, right? But when have we ever been given the actual tools to do that? It's like people expect us once we graduate to completely have it all figured out, and we just don't, because it's not like something changes overnight or something clicks overnight, because that's not how it works. And it takes us having to experience those scary new milestones by ourselves to actually get the hang of what it takes to become an adult. And people just expect you to already know how to do everything. And that doesn't go for everybody, obviously, but I'm speaking in general. It does seem like nobody has any compassion for the people that are just trying to learn how to adult for the first time and figure things out. And I guess when people say grow up, like it's probably from a mental standpoint, but still, like we're expected to have it all figured out in a moment's notice. Whether it's when you turn 18 or when you graduate or when you finally get that job. But the reality is, we don't have to have it all figured out all at once. And we also probably will never have it all figured out. But especially because school does not teach us anything about being a functioning adult, we're all just learning as we go. And so it's important to be understanding and to be kind and to give yourself and others grace. But then, from a more educational standpoint versus just knowing practical skills, a lot of graduates are not prepared for their job or to work in their field upon graduation, because you don't do the real learning until you're on the job. I graduated from a local medical trade school, and it was an amazing experience for me because it does allow you that hands-on training, the on-the-job training that you get through your clinical hours. And I felt like my transition from being the student to being the worker was amazing because of that. But even then, I felt like everything I learned in school went out the window when I got to my job. And I felt like I could have just been trained on the job. Like, why did I go through 2 years of school for me to not even use that information and just learn everything on the job? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. But I know it's like you have to have that education to get certified. But it just seems silly to me that I felt like I wasted 2 years of my life learning something that I never even used again. And there are plenty of people that I know that have gotten bachelor's degrees and don't even work in their field of study, and they don't have any other higher education. So they just ended up working in a totally unrelated job that they could have just started working instead of going to school. But I mean, they couldn't have predicted that. But I just feel like it's a problem because, like, college, I don't know. I feel like growing up, especially because I was born in 1998, so I think technically I'm a Gen Z, which makes me sick to my stomach. But growing up, especially as millennials slash Gen Z, I feel like we were told, especially more so millennials, that you needed a college education to get a job, like a decent paying job. And I feel like these days that's just not true anymore. And a lot of people that are taking the time, money, and other resources and energy, whatever, to get that college education, they're not even necessarily being rewarded for it, because then they're expected to just take some entry level job that somebody could have taken without a college degree. But I will say I enjoyed my time at my university, and I felt like it did help me experience independence, but it's just way too expensive, especially in this economy, for us to be sinking all that money into our degrees and not even using them for anything. Like, I went to my university for 3 semesters and I came out with $20,000 of debt. My trade school was, even though it was private, it was still less expensive than the university, especially because I didn't have to pay for like room and board. And I got a forgivable loan that would have been completely forgiven had I stayed in the job for 2 years full time, but I absolutely did not do that. So that added another, well, the loan amount fully was 10,000, but I guess from work I worked off like 2 or 3,000. So I still had like 7,000 to go. So yeah. um so I racked up what, $30,000 total in debt, and that was only for 4 years of school, which granted, that's not a lot, honestly. I'm very fortunate that I only came out with 30,000. Like, I have friends that have gotten their undergraduate degrees and they're getting their masters, and they're almost reaching six figures of debt. And for what? Like, I mean, I know that you can get a good job with that. I'm not denying that at all. Some jobs do require that level of education, and that's actually what I was going for at first. I wanted to be an occupational therapist, and I wanted to do my undergraduate, my bachelor's degree, and then go get my master's and start doing occupational therapy. But I'm just kind of glad that I didn't do that, because I don't feel like I would have been making enough to even pay that off relatively soon. So, yeah, some jobs do require that, but I wouldn't be going out of my way. Me personally, I would not be going out of my way to get a master's degree if it wasn't absolutely necessary for the position that I was interested in. Because obviously, I didn't like occupational therapy enough to resume my path to my master's once I got my health back in order. And for those of you that don't know, I dropped out of my sophomore year of college because I was suffering from a chronic illness and just needed a semester to regroup. And then I realized that I didn't want to go back to another bachelor's program, and I just wanted to find the shortest program with the greatest pay as far as like what I was going to get paid in the job. And I am happy with what I did as far as finding that medical trade school and getting through that program really quickly and getting into the workforce, because had a job secured before graduation. I got basically 2 years of work experience through the program, and yeah, it was a really great time. And so I definitely, if it's possible, will always recommend a technical school or a trade school over a regular university. Anyway, like I was saying, I did enjoy my time at my university, and I did feel like it helped me experience independence. But yeah, I don't feel like it was worth it for the amount of debt that I came out with. And for the people that go to college solely for the experience, that's great. Like, that's your prerogative, that's your choice. You can do that. But it's a huge financial burden to carry later on in life, especially if you're not there to get your education, you're just there for the experience, which is the whole purpose of college in the first place. But some people just go because of the experience. Like, I had somebody on a Facebook page tell me that you should go to college no matter the cost because it's the experience of a lifetime. And honestly, I had to laugh because I just thought that was crazy talk. Like, that's insane. Like, you're going to put yourself in thousands of dollars of debt just for an experience. Like, you can recreate that experience outside of college. Like, I know people just want to like go and party like with their peers sometimes, but you can recreate that experience outside of college. I promise. I think college is a great way to get an education, a great way to experience independence to a certain degree, because you're not necessarily experiencing it fully, especially if you're not the one paying for your education. But like I said, I think you can do all those same things and get those same experiences outside of college, and it may look a little different, but it's still completely doable. So I really couldn't tell you why college doesn't necessarily prepare you for the real world. Like, it still is mind-boggling to me that they're not teaching us in school how to buy a car, take out a loan, buy a house, pay your taxes, start a business, make a doctor's appointment, how to do regular car maintenance, like balance your checkbook, budget. Like, I don't understand why none of that is taught to us. So me personally, I just feel like college did not prepare me for the real world, because It did not give me those practical adulthood experiences. But sometimes, things are just better learned if you're doing it on your own. So I'm not mad about it. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me why we're not being taught a little bit about how to function as an adult while we're in school, but I'm not mad about it. I feel like it's a hit or miss whether college prepares you for the real world. It just depends on what you're going for and what type of experience you have. Like if you're taking online classes through a college, then maybe that's not helping you prepare for the real world other than getting that education that you need for your career. Like I said, it depends. So what do you think? You can email me your thoughts or you can follow me on social media at Madeline Swan LLC. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I will be talking a little more about this topic throughout the week, so make sure you don't miss that. And if you are struggling with figuring out if you want to go to college, what career path you want to pursue, how to gain your independence and move out, I am here for you. I have a free 30-minute call that you can take advantage of. It is no commitment required, free 30 minutes of us just talking together, me listening to you, getting to know you, hearing your situation. We're going to evaluate your goals and what you're looking to achieve right now, and we're going to make a game plan for how to do that. So you'll find that link in the show notes. Make sure you take advantage of it. If you're struggling finding a career path, I have my free quiz linked below, and I have all my social media pages below. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope this topic really made you think a little bit today, and I will be back next week with something kind of similar where I talk about if I felt prepared for college as a high school student. So stay tuned, but until then, stay safe and let's hang out again soon.